here. This is a molasses one here. This is from cane sugar. You take the yeast, you adjust it, or you take the molasses or the sugar or the cane juice and you adjust the pH so that yeast can live in it, and you water it down. In the case of cane juice, you don't have to water very much, but in the case of the molasses, you have to have a lot of water. The first couple of tastes on the rum, or the first part of the taste on the rum, is going to be byproducts of the fermentation, but the finish will let you know what it was made from. Basically, we adjust the pH, we water it down a little bit to the right sugar content, and then we pitch yeast in there, and it just eats up all the sugar and creates CO2 gas and alcohol. And that's why it's bubbling here, because the CO2 gas is coming through. But if you guys want to taste these, you're welcome to. It won't hurt you. It's actually pretty interesting to taste the differences. These ones are still going to be a little sweet because the fermentation isn't complete. This one will be like it'll taste like molasses, but it'll taste like beer as well. The fermentation is complete. The pot, this is the head of the still, and this is called a line arm. And then the line arm goes into the condenser. Sometimes between the condenser, or between the head of the still and the condenser, is different contraptions. In a cognac still, there's a pre-warmer, and in whiskey stills, sometimes there's a thing called a thumper, which just refines the spirit a little more. So what happens in distillation, the principle of distillation is alcohol boils at a lower temperature than water. So we heat this up, and the alcohol starts boiling off, and it's a vapor that rises into the head here. And you notice that this is skinnier here than the head is, and what that does is it creates a higher velocity of those vapors going through there, and then when they hit the head, they lose velocity, they lose pressure, and they recondense, and they'll actually rain back down. And it's just a quick process, but it refines it a little bit and gets rid of some impurities, and then the vapor continues on through here, and this tube and this tube are actually connected, so this is just a cooling water. Through there and comes out in liquid. So everything that comes off the still is clear. So all the color you see in spirits comes after the distillation process. The first stuff coming off boils really low temperature, and it's impure alcohols, and it's stuff that will make you sick when you drink it. And so you don't want to, it causes hangovers and things like that, so you don't want to drink that. The middle part is called hearts. It's mostly ethanol, which is what you want to drink. And then the last part, the tails, contains a lot of oils and flavorings that are a byproduct of all of the fermentation of the yeast. And so when that comes off the still, you want to be balanced in collecting that. If you want something that doesn't have a lot of character of what you fermented, you cut that early, and you don't have any of those oils. If you want a lot of flavor and character, which is the case with whiskeys and rums, you allow that to be collected to a certain point. If you go too long, it gets real bitter and starts to have not such a good flavor and taste. And so it's a real balance. Then the heads and tails you can dispose of some way or another. Some people reuse them in the next batch. We don't, because it just lends to more impurities.